Welcome to this presentation on forest farming and non-timber forest products. My name is Gary Wyatt, Extension Educator with the University of Minnesota Extension in our forestry team at the Mankato Regional Office. Forest farming, sometimes referred to as multi-story cropping, is an agroforestry practice that is suitable for many of the forested areas in Minnesota and the United States. Forest farming is intentional manipulation and integration of intensive management and woodlands that capitalize on specific plant interactions and produce non-timber forest products. These shade-tolerant crops that can be grown in the understory include ginseng, shiitake mushrooms, decorative ferns, and pine straw. What is agroforestry? The intentional combining of agriculture and working trees to create sustainable farming systems. There are mainly 5 practices in agroforestry: silvopasture, alley cropping, windbreaks, forest farming, and riparian buffers. Why do forest farming? Forest farming benefits include improved value and diversity of existing forests and woodlands, diversify income, increase cash flow, cultural and social connections, and also just a family activity. There are several different methods of integrating forest farming into your operation and forest management. You see this on this particular graph. The inputs go to the right as we go further to the top of the bubbles, so to speak, on the chart, and then it increases in forest management. So we'll start at the bottom. Wildcrafting. Wildcrafting is basically the wild harvest or harvesting of natural existing non-timber forest products. An example might be morel mushrooms. Next circle is forest tending. The least intensive, no supplemental planting, rather forest is managed for proper light and sunlight into the understory to grow the proper plant species. That's forest tending. Wild simulated is less intensive and higher value, where you're planting seeds in a minimal disturbance of the forest floor and then left to grow naturally. That's the wild simulated. And then the forest gardening, the most intensified and high cost type of forest farming operation, and where you're using and employing some agronomic practices such as tillage, fertilization, weed control, and controlling of diseases and insects and wildlife. And it might be a higher value, which the inputs are higher and the quality of non-timber forest products might be of less value. Forest tending and managing wild populations. No seeding is involved in this particular practice. Managing light and the proper understory for the habitat of the species that you want to grow is forest tending and managing. Wild simulated includes seeding of natural in the natural habitat. Benefits include inexpensive, less labor, and the price. Challenges are success and also is less control. Wild simulated in an understory of a woodland. And you notice the fence in the background, that's manipulating the understory area and protection of wildlife. What are non-timber forest products? NTFPs. They can include a lot of these different categories: floral greenery, wild edibles, medicinals, landscape and firewood, etc., craft and art, miscellaneous products, which include essential oils, smoke woods, soaps, etc., and forest-based cultural or ecotourism with non-timber forest product components. Native woodland harvest. Know what you're harvesting and when. Identify woodland or the site. Recognize if it's a public or private area, and obviously get written permission if not owned land. State or federal lands can be hunted for and harvested, but you need a permit, and you can only hunt for your personal use. and then sustainably harvest these products, usually leaving about 10% of the products in the landscape. What to harvest or grow? You look at the economic value, if it's a ready market that exists, associated with the understory, undercover, or ground cover, herbs, trees, and shrubs. Easy to grow or cultivate. Is it native? Traditional use, underutilized or novelty, or cultural or social interest. All these have an effect on what to grow for your personal use or what to grow for an economic value and for sale. Every non-timber forest product has a harvest season. This calendar shows some of the examples of woodland products and the months they are harvested. This calendar will vary by state and possibly by regions within a state. So be aware of the harvest periods of the products, non-timber forest products you want to harvest. Potential woodland products include mushrooms, florals, greenery, fruits, herbs, vegetables, landscaping, crafts, botanicals, medicinals, nuts, and pollen. There are usually 4 categories that we look at when we're considering and looking at and talking about non-timber forest products: medicinals, food products, decoratives, handicrafts. Handicrafts include the Beb willows or the diamond willows and other products, chestnuts, obviously the medicinal products and plants, shiitake mushrooms, rhodosia dogwood in this picture, and also pine straw. Medicinals include wood, bark, buds, leaves, roots, fruits, and flowers. Medicinal uses are very popular this period and high demand. The high value of particular plants that people want, and there's also international and U.S. markets that need to be identified, and local markets need to be identified for these medicinal uses. Foods, food products, include fruits, syrups, mushrooms, nuts, vegetables, and honeys. Of these processes, identify food safety regulations for selling home processed foods in your state. In Minnesota, the Minnesota Department of Agriculture is the lead agency for looking at licenses and registration if you happen to sell over a certain amount. Food uses, people love and need food and like local foods. Native plants equal natural and wholesome type products, which are popular. Everybody likes the farmers markets and local foods, and certainly these could be sold, these non-timber forest products could be sold at farmers markets. Processing increases the value and value-added products, and also there might be some organic possibilities for growing these products organically. Flora and decoratives, that it includes the greenery, the tips, the berries, flowers, and straw and cones. Decoratives market includes plants such as bittersweet, dogwoods, willows, forsythia, ferns, pine straw, pine cones, moss, and boughs. By no means this is not a limited list. There's an unlimited list for decoratives for the landscaping industry and also the floral industry of the floral market. The Minnesota Department of Natural Resources has a balsa bough harvesting website to help educate people on how to properly prune and sustainably harvest this non-timber forest product from the forest. Less known are the specialty wood products or handicraft products that can be used and made from forest farming products. There's a lot of different handy crafts that can be made from willows, burls, etc. Some of the crafts are made from vines, branches, cones, foliage, bark, roots, and burls. Where to begin? Start with the timber proper management woodlots or timber stand improvement. Uh, timber stand improvements are always recommended, and certainly developing a forest farming plan, removing some of the trees that shade the understory to develop a understory habitat for your particular species that you want to harvest and nurture and grow in the understory is a must. So look at the opportunities of developing and working with your foresters on a timber stand improvement plan. Forest farming encourages sustainable harvest and timber harvest in the forest. This diagram is taken from the Managing Oak in a Driftless Area extension publication, is found at z.umn.edu/managing oak. Ideally, crop trees should be 20 to 25 feet apart, but if they are scarce or uneven distributed throughout the landscape, 2 trees as close as 10 feet can be selected as long as they are treated as one tree. Release no more than 100 crop trees or per acre, or 90 trees would result in a fully stocked stand at 16-inch DBH, which is diameter at breast height, trees that could be at graded 1. In this particular example diagram, CT is the crop trees. If landowners are interested in mushrooms, they can join the Minnesota Mycological Society. This group conducts annual field tours in the summertime and offers educational classes and mushroom identification. If you're looking for a reference book on mushrooms, download this PDF from the U.S. Forest Service, z.umn.edu USFS mushrooms. Our Minnesota Extension Forestry team has put together this Minnesota Harvester Handbook for wild harvesters and anyone interested in non-timber forest farming. The table of contents by products and season, basic tips. Each section reviews the biology and the ecology system of each plant. We have 8 edible mushrooms covered, 8 bark, sticks, and woods covered in the booklet, 4 edible green and berries, 4 holiday decorations, and saps and syrups. This book is available at the Minnesota bookstore. Our University of Minnesota Extension Agroforestry and Bioenergy team has a wonderful website with fact sheets and resources for all landowners. It's at the www.extension.umn.edu/agroforestry. If you have questions regarding the topics we shared today in this presentation, please contact myself, Gary Wyatt, at 507-389-6748, and my email is wyatt, W-Y-A-T-T, @umn.edu. Thank you for watching.